What's up guys, and welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to show you how to create an afrobeat using a simple guitar melody which is inspired by Wizkid. I'm also going to try to add some amapiano influences to this beat. So let's get started. Starting off adjusting the BPM to 99. So instead of starting off with the melodies, first I'm going to start off with the drums. So let's use this 8-bar shaker loop. And before starting off, I'm already going to add some swing. So you can add swing opening up the channel rack. So in this case, let's add 15% of swing. And this is the main swing for the whole beat. So first we're going to start off with some main percussion elements. So we could pick some snares and some rims. So first let's check out some rims from the Afrobeats Infinity drum kit. I like this one. So right now I'm going to select pattern 1 and paste it into the playlist. Then we select song, and both the shaker loop and the drums which we're going to add are going to play at the same time. So right now we're going to add that commonly used Afrobeat rhythm, which is this rhythm. And right now we're going to randomize the velocity of these elements. So select bipolar, press accept. And I'm going to open up the pre-computed effects within the sampler and then use this EQ preset. So I'm shifting the low frequency balance and then I'm normalizing the sample again. So now let's add a kick following a simple rhythm. So now we're going to add some percussions. So let's use this one, which is following this rhythm. Instantly add some more rhythm to this drum loop. And I've also played around with the velocity just to make it sound more organic. And now we want to add some percussive sounds which contain mid frequencies. So we have the kick, which contains a lot of low frequencies. We have those percussive sounds, the rim and the clave, which contain a lot of high frequencies. So right now we want to pick sounds which contain frequencies right in between. So let's start off with a conga, which usually contains a lot of mid frequencies. So I'm going to use conga 6. Which I've layered with the second rim. So right now let's pick another element. So let's pick another rim. Just gonna copy the conga pattern into this one and then move this one a little bit to the right. So right now in this case, for example, let's pick a snap. This one already contains a lot of reverb. So just let's copy this one again and paste this one right there. So let's use another element which we're going to layer with this rim, this one, and let's say a snare. So let's use this one, which is leaning a little bit towards amapiano, this one. So right now we're missing some sharpness. So we're going to add an element which contains a lot of high frequencies and doesn't contain a lot of low frequencies. So adding a lot of transients and dynamics to the beat using an element like this. And for example, you could use a cymbal and use a closed head. So let's pick one of the first ones. This one sounds very organic, so you're going to use this one. And let's create a simple layer. So now let's pick an open head. So let's use this one. And usually you would layer this one at the end of the second bar. So something like this right here. So now let's add another bongo. So let's add this one, which sounds really open and contains a lot of mid frequencies. So for this element, I played around with the pitch. So I'm not just playing it in C. So these notes are playing at the first step at C4, so 1 octave below the main pitch of the sample. And then I've adjusted those ones to E. Also play around with the velocity to add a lot of rhythm to this element. So we add an element like this. When you play it on solo, it sounds like this. So now we're going to layer it with all the other elements. Adds a lot of rhythm to this drum loop. So let's say we move on picking another bongo. Let's say bongo 25, which contains a lot of low frequencies. This one sounds great. Just keep it very simple. And I think last but not least, for now, we're going to add the final percussive element. Let's say bongo 2, which is a pretty weird element. And it's following this more amapiano inspired rhythm. And of course we want to add a clap impact, so I'm going to use one of these. So let's use this more original one. I think the element which we're using right now is just a little bit more unique. For now, before we're going to add the elements, I want to add a unique element. So we're going to create a drum roll from scratch. So I'm going to use Contact. And I think for this beat, I also want to use organic and real instruments. So right now, I'm not going to create a very synthesized drum roll. We're going to use a real drum tool using Contact. So right now, let's use the Studio Drummer and let's use the session kit full one. So we're now open it up in the piano roll. And we're now on every note, they've assigned a unique element, so a unique sample. So they basically recorded every individual element. So now you could create really unique and original organic sounding drum loops. But we're just gonna use this one for the drum roll. So on the mixer, we're using the funk kit, this one. And this usually takes a while because you're messing around until it sounds good. And also make sure to reduce the volume of some individual elements because otherwise it just sounds way too quantized. So right now it sounds like this. So when we're layering this with all the other elements, right now it still sounds way too dry. So right now we're going to select all these elements like this, open up the mixer, select insert one, right mouse button, channel routing, and I'll route to selected channels. So right now all the elements are linked to the mixer at once. And right now, for example, you're just gonna add a reverb. So I will use the reverb plate 140 because I really like this one. This one is from Arturia. And let's use the 80s plate. So we don't want to add a wide sounding reverb. And then you're adjusting the blend, which is basically the dry wet mixer. That sounds great. So for now, that's it. So right now, let's start off with the chord progression. So again, I want to use as real elements as I can. So I'm going to use Contact again. There's a really cool element which is called the Mark 1. And this one is called the Scarby Mark 1. So I'm just going to use this one, making no adjustments to the initial preset. I'm going to create this beat in A minor. So we're just going to start with a simple chord. So we have A minor, and if you're not really into music theory, I'm just going to show you how you can do this very quickly. So we have A, and then you just count the notes. So right now we're just going to count. So going from A, so 1, B is 2, C is 3. And now we're going to create some more advanced chords. So we're going to add D, which is basically the next one, and F. So we have 1, 2, 3. Then we're going to add in one note at the fourth one, and this one's the fifth, and this one is the sixth one. I think it's called 6 minor chord, something like that. But right now we're just going to inverse those ones. So this will be an inversion. So right now it doesn't sound that good. But if we lower down those ones, we're just adding a jazz vibe to this chord progression. Then we're going to pitch it up 1 octave. Just copy it. And then I want to create something which goes upwards. So I'm going to pick the next note within the scale, which is E. And then make sure all the notes fit the scale. Let's adjust it like this. We're going to reuse this same chord progression over and over again for this one. And we're basically moving on to this one again right here. Something like this. So let's have a listen. And now we're going to pick the next chord progression, one note up again. So we're going from E to F. And as you can see right now, not all the notes fit the scales. So this is this G and D. So we're going to move this one up to A and this one to E. We're going to make sure we follow the exact same schedule when it comes to the notes. So this one, and then we're going to move back to this one. Something like this. So let's have a listen right now. Then let's copy those ones again. Shorten this one and reuse this one. Then you want to add a little bit of strum, not too much. So you play around with the position of the notes. So that's it, already sounds very groovy. So now we're going to use another real element. So I'm going to use Contact again. So I'm going to pick the Scarby pre-bass amped fat one, which is a really cool bass guitar. And then let's copy the lower notes from our chord progression. So for example, let's start with this D. And then we're going to pitch it down 1 octave from D5 to D4. And then let's reuse this one again, because in the chord progression, it's pitching up one note, but just let's use this D right here. And then within the scale, I'm going to pitch this one down to, let's say, for example, A. So let's have a listen to the full bass line. That sounds really cool and adds another jazz feeling to this chord progression. So right now let's use another element, and I'm going to use Contact 7, which is a new version of Contact. So let's use the electric vintage one. Let's use the Cuba Cafe preset, this one, the melody version. So I'm just going to use the open preset. So it sounds like this. And now we're gonna build a simple melody on top. So simple guitar melody. So for example, let's start off with this B, then we use this C. And then we're gonna just use the notes. So we're gonna, after B, the first one up is C, then B again, and then the first one down within the scale is A. So that sounds really cool. So let's copy it. Then let's follow the chord progression. So from C, and we're gonna reuse this D. So you just copy it using Ctrl C and then use Ctrl B. So simple way to copy it over. Then within the scale, we're using D and E. So maybe pitch this one up. So let's have a listen how it sounds. For now, you want to play around with the individual velocity of every note. So right now it sounds muffled if I play it like this, when turning down the velocity. So overall, I've reduced the velocity of most of the notes. So right now it sounds like this. So that's it. I think it's a simple element, but it's a great additional layer to the chord progression. So now let's take a look for a unique element. So let's use arcade. So I found this red of Zeus, this one, and then let's adjust the key to A minor. So those are some amazing string presets. This one sounds really cool. Adds a lot of ambience to the beat, and I think it's a unique element to use in those kinds of beats. So now maybe let's use a simple element. So I'm going to use expand 2, and I think I'm going to layer it using also another real instrument. So let's use a kalimba. So I think it's under mullets, and then let's select electric kalimba, this one. Exactly what I'm looking for. So I'm just going to copy this one and paste it into this one. Just adds a little bit of organic texture to the beat. So let's have a listen playing it together with the chords and the drums. So we're now again link all of these elements to the mixer, and I'm going to show you how to add effects to those elements, and by using simple tricks make sure your beat already sounds very clean. So first we're just going to start off with the chords, and usually I would remove all the low frequencies, but in the end this will make your beat sound very empty. So I'm just going to remove the frequencies, which I definitely don't need. So I'm going to use a low cut right here around 100 Hertz. And this one just contains a lot of mid frequencies, so we don't need to remove a lot of highs. We just can add some reverb in this case, because most of you guys are just using stock plugins. Let's use the Fruity Reverb 2. Then you want to remove the low frequencies. So we removed all the low frequencies from 100 Hertz. So for example, let's set this one to 200 Hertz. We want all the high frequencies, and let's say 2 seconds of decay. And then let's just adjust the mix. So that's it. And right now we're going to add the bass line. You don't want the bass line to be too present. That's it. This one already sounds perfect. And we're going to sidechain the low frequencies to the kick. So I'm going to use the kick Starr 2, select kick 9, then right mouse button, and then select sidechain to this track. So right now kick is sidechain to the bass line. So right now we're going to open up kick Starr 2, open up the settings right here, processing, and then select kick 9. And we don't want to sidechain the high frequencies, but we just want to sidechain the low frequencies. So I would say you sidechain from 100 Hertz, something like this. So we're ducking below this frequency. That's it. And it instantly improves your mix in the end. So now let's move on to the guitar. And for this beat, I want to soften the guitar a little bit using a chorus. So it just sounds a little bit spacier. So I'm going to use the chorus dimension D, this one. And let's say the dirty and white preset. That sounds great. But right now it still sounds way too dry, so I'm going to add this reverb intensity, which is another reverb from Arturia. And then let's scroll through the presets, the reverb presets. Let's say chill waves. Really unique reverb preset, so I really like it. And then we just want to remove the unnecessary frequencies, which again, a low cut, not make it too steep, 18 decibel per octave is just fine. And then remove a little bit of mid so it just fits better in the mix. This one just needs a little bit of additional reverb. So let's use the fruity reverb. That sounds perfectly fine. And the Kalimba again, just at the same reverb right here. So reverb and let's say chorus verb, just at random. Added some more decay. And that's basically it when it comes to simply mixing those elements. So now you want to select pattern 1 and then use the right mouse button and select split by channel. You select all the elements and then just basically drag them into the arrangement. So I normally organize it like this. I have the drums on top right here and then I have the melodies right here. Just keeping it organized. Then we don't want the drum roll to play every 4 bars. So every 8 bars is just totally fine. And then we're going to create a simple 16-bar arrangement. So we remove the clave right here. Then we're going to create a simple intro like this. Then we're going to make this one unique by pressing right here, select make unique. And then we just remove those ones. Because then the drum roll's coming in. Very, very simple arrangement. Right here. And that's basically it when it comes to creating this beat. Very simple for you as a beginner, but I think there are some crucial elements which really define this beat and in general the Afrobeat sound. So I think that's it when it comes to this tutorial. If you like this beat, make sure to check out the link in the description. I will give this one away for free, so you could download the stems and just create a beat yourself. And if you create something awesome and you just want some feedback, make sure to send it to contact@7beats.com. You can also find this in the description. And again, thank you so much for watching this video. If you're interested in the drums I'm using, make sure to check out the Afrobeats Infinity drum kit. There is also a free preview of this drum kit available. The link is in the description and you could just have a look playing around with the sounds. And there are also some free sample packs available, like the Afro Science drum kit, which contains some awesome drums. So make sure to check out the link in the description. And with all this being said, have a great day and create some awesome beats. See you.